A 108-year-old man is proud of his service to the country, his deep faith, and his family. NBC4 presents Moses Eldridge, Life, Liberty, and Love. Here's Carrie Charles.
Thanks for joining us here on NBC4 Columbus. Moses Eldridge served during World War II and is likely Ohio's oldest living veteran. In April of 2025, he celebrated a major milestone again. He turned 108 years old. The West Virginia native first moved to Columbus in the 1930s, returned in the 40s, and has called the capital city his home ever since. In 1937, Eldridge met Ida Bell Bland. 2 years later, they married in his house on Spring Street. Those at the ceremony, his family says, the couple, the Reverend, and one witness. Mr. and Mrs. Eldridge had one daughter, 3 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. Their union led to generations of family, a host of friends who are like family, and a deep love for everyone they met. I went one-on-one with Moses Eldridge. One visit with him was an honor, a second, a blessing. We all will have a time when we go on to glory. What's the thing you want people here to always remember about you?
That I tried to be a man of glory and a truthful man.
Moses Eldridge is an American hero, a World War II veteran. In April of this year, he turned 108 years old and is believed to be the oldest living veteran in Ohio. To mark the occasion, his family held a celebration to honor a man who means so much to so many people. Days before the party, I visited the longtime Columbus resident at his family's home on the north side of the city. What's the key to living a long and healthy life?
Well, there's a part in the Bible that says, honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long upon the earth which the Lord thy God giveth thee. So I honor my mother, and I honor my father.
We first met Eldridge in 2019. He was 102. NBC4 showcased his service during Red, White, and Boom during a segment honoring our nation's veterans.
The Ford Oval of Honor recognizes the common people among us willing to step forward and serve our country, like Moses Eldridge. Born in 1917, Eldridge grew up during the Great Depression in a segregated America. His father and brothers worked in the coal mines of West Virginia, but Moses wanted more. He went to college on a scholarship.
That college sits in the shadows of downtown Greensboro, North Carolina. When Eldridge walked the campus, it was called Agricultural and Technical College of North Carolina. It's the same school where in February of 1960, 4 freshmen stood up by sitting down. The group staged a sit-in at a segregated Woolworth lunch counter and spawned a sit-in movement that spread and ultimately integrated lunch counters throughout the South. Since 1967, the school has been known as North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, commonly called North Carolina A&T.
Then in 1943 was drafted into the U.S. Army, ending up on the Sea Snipe, a cargo ship transformed into a troop carrier.
We got to New Guinea and we set up camp. As I say, I was the water purifier, Company A and Company B.
Though providing clean water is essential for troops, Moses recalls an incident he is still extremely proud of, one that earned him a medal.
It stormed a lot over there, and we had a hospital that was almost to be like the storms here, to be washed away. My company got a medal for that because we turned the whole river. We turned the path of the whole river to keep it from going into this hospital.
Moses says his time taught him a lesson.
It taught me the one thing, war was hell. It taught me that, the war was hell, because it was.
He and I looked at photos from his time in service. What advice would you give this young man about getting through the military?
Well, one thing, obey the rules and regulations and be always prompt. Be sure as you do this. Now, I not only was a water purifier, but also I was in charge of the motor pool.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the motor pool. And in New Guinea and the Philippines. Now that's me when I was in when I was in the Philippines, in New Guinea, in New Guinea, because there it is, T5. See, I was a T5.
Are you proud of this young man?
Oh yes,
Why?
because it's me. It's Moses Eldridge, and I served my country well. A follower of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Even while growing up in West Virginia, Eldridge wanted to serve.
You know, actually, I wanted to be a preacher. Yeah, I wanted to be a preacher, but I ended up being, instead of being a preacher, I ended up being a singer with the Carter School of Music.
A Sunday school superintendent, Eldridge also sang in the choir at Shiloh Baptist Church.
Now, if you want, you can sing a song right now.
Jesus, you the center of my joy. All that's good and perfect comes from you. You the heart of my contentment. All that I can do. Jesus, you the center of my joy.
Thank you for that. Thank you. That was awesome. I wasn't expecting that. That was awesome.
When Moses Eldridge, life, liberty, and love continues.
So I just think it's a great story. It's an enriching story. It's a celebrational story.
The granddaughter who is working to keep her grandfather's story alive. When we first shared Mr. Eldridge's story, many of you told me, Carrie, people need to know as much as they can about this man. I agree. So a few nuggets about his childhood. Eldridge was born in Wilco, West Virginia. His family's two-story home sat on a hill, and when the wind blew extremely hard, they feared the house would collapse. Eldridge, who had 6 brothers and sisters, learned how to fix things around the house by watching his father, a carpenter who, among other things, also worked in the mines. Now, the siblings slept 2 to a bed and bathed Saturday night so they could be fresh for church on Sunday morning. I learned all of this from one family member who is writing a book about the patriarch's life.
I still haven't decided if it's going to be autobiographical or if it's going to be a fiction story. So sort of loosely based on their life, so I'm still working through some of that. My name is Michelle Goodwin, and I am the granddaughter of Moses Eldridge. Honestly, I was going to start about my grandmother, but of course my grandfather will be part of that story. But it was more about, because he is 108, and there's so much history there, and just to understand what times were like back then, what he experienced growing up in West Virginia and in Columbus.
Michelle Goodwin is chronicling her grandfather's story. Her goal, a book about his childhood, time in college, military service, and relationship with his bride, Ida Bell Bland. The couple was married for 73 years.
What's the key to a long marriage?
Well, one thing about it, you can be peaceful and honest and loving and always on time and believe in one another.
Mrs. Eldridge died on Palm Sunday in 2013.
It started with conversations with my grandmother and understanding their history, because my grandmother was also pretty old. She was 95 when she passed. But life back in those times. And then talking to my grandfather about the same thing, how they grew up, where they grew up, what life was like, what they experienced. Because I love getting personal accounts from people, especially from Black people back in those times. But just wanting to know more about my family. Because, you know, we talk about our family, but not really from a historical perspective. And our family, especially, was so spread out. Some people are here in Columbus. There's some who moved to Pittsburgh, some never left West Virginia, some are in Atlanta. So just trying to get everything understood as far as where we come from, our experiences, his experience, certainly, because he's seen a lot of life. So it just really prompted me to want to just know more, because I think it's so enriching for your life when you know where you come from and you know your family background and some of the reasons why you do what you do and the way you are the way you are. So I just really wanted to know more about that. So I just think it's a great story. It's an enriching story. It's a celebrational story because you do come from a lot of strife and stress and and hardship, and now you're in a place where you're celebrated, for just being.
For research, Goodwin did a sit-down interview with her grandparents. She will use the audio recordings.
Well, you're in Columbus, and you and Grandpa are married, and you bought the house, and you have Mom.
To help share their story.
Well, let me ask you a question. Why didn't you want more children?
Say what?
I said, why didn't you want more children?
I didn't feel like I could take care of them, and because I had to work, and I took care of children a lot on my job. I worked for people that had children, and the woman worked, and they needed somebody to take care of the children while they work.
I think everyone has an interesting story if you talk to them long enough and they're willing to share.
I also spoke with Sherry Burks. She's Goodwin's sister. Who is this young man over here, and why is he important to you?
Okay, this young man over here is none other than Brother Moses Eldridge, the oldest World War II veteran here in Ohio, and also my grandfather.
Burks is their grandfather's caretaker.
He's my rock. He's been my first love for many, 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 many years. And anytime, anywhere, anything I've ever needed, has always been my papa. So I feel honored that he's still with me, and two, that I'm able to now help him like he's always helped me throughout these years.
And now he's a local celebrity of sorts. Much ado has been made about his 108th birthday.
I love it. He loves it. He loves it. So we'll make it to 109. Make a bigger to-do, please. Yes. But no, I really like that people, because I think sometimes, unfortunately, in this country, we tend to dismiss older folks as not being relevant or not your time. You sit down. But I love the fact that people are celebrating him and wanting to understand him.
I first visited with Mr. Eldridge days before his birthday. I showed up empty-handed, but I returned. Hey, how are you?
How are you?
I'm well. Good to see you again.
Good to be seen in that view.
Yes. I brought something for you this time. This time with a gift in tow, since I didn't have a birthday gift for you last time. I hope these are the right kind.
These onions?
Yes, sir. Onions. He eats one every day. More of my visit with Moses Eldridge when we come back.
My hope is that one day, when the good Lord called for me, he said, "Come on up, Moses. It's time for you to come in."
As part of my first conversation with Moses Eldridge, during my return to his home, we talked a little longer about a number of things, including his dear Ida. They were married for more than 70 years. When did you all meet? How did that happen?
Oh, my bride, Ida Bell, was on that bottle. Are you familiar with West Side? They used to call it Flytown.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's where I came out of, Flytown, living with my aunt. And Ida Bell was across the street, and I was on this side of the street, and that's how we met. Ida Bell, and after a period of time, her cousin brought her here, and from Philadelphia. So anyway, when we met for a long time, she's on her porch, and I'd be on my porch. And finally one day, we decided to go across the street to each other. We got together, and at that particular time, I was growing a mustache, and I used to take a match to strike the mustache, blow it out so it'd be black, so I have that.
That's how you did it back then.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's how I got my mustache.
What was she like?
She was a quiet gal, and so was I. Matter of fact, at that particular time, I didn't talk too much anyway, but she did the talking. but we got along pretty good. And Ida Bell Bland, that was her name.
And she was a member of the Cupidettes Club, a women's empowerment social group.
You know where the tallest, used to be the tallest building in Columbus. It's on Broad.
Levesque?
Levesque.
Okay.
Well, see, that's where I started to work there at Levesque. Matter of fact, when I got married, that's where I was working, running an elevator at Levesque. So that's a long story, Ida Bell, me, and me.
Mr. and Mrs. Eldridge bought a home in Linden. The family lived there for decades.
East 18th Avenue, and I become a bowler. And at my home, I got hundreds of trophies where I won bowling, and that's what's wrong with this arm from bowling. And yeah, East Linden. But another thing too, I started driving. I started driving a car, and that was strange because I had never drove a car. Where I had drove a car with my daughter, and I'd go fishing, and I'd be driving a car with her in it. But that was, and we'd go out to Hoover Dam quite a bit because we went out there to fish, and I'd take her with me, Ida and myself. But that's about the way life was with me.
Good times.
Yeah.
During this visit, Eldridge opened a window into his past. He talked about going to Dunbar Junior High in McDowell County, West Virginia.
I played the trombone, and I went out for football, but I didn't weigh too much. I didn't weigh too much for football, so I went into the band. So I played in the band, played the trombone in the band, but I never did actually learn how to play the trombone. But there was 3 other guys that played the trombone, and whatever that movement was, that's what my movement was. Right along there.
He showed off treasured keepsakes, each one a thread in the fabric of a remarkable life. There was his high school diploma, aged but proud. Kimball Colored High School, class of 1935. And there were his draft and discharge papers from the Army, strong as ever, proof of duty served and history lived.
I see private, and then T5.
T5, that's me. See, I was a T5.
In every conversation with Mr. Eldridge, 2 themes rise to the surface: his unwavering faith and a lifelong love for music.
When I joined Shallow, I became a member of the choir. But before that, I become a singer. Angela School Division in Arts. That's what I was become a member of. And I got in with a group of singers, 10 of us, and we went all over the country singing. Yeah, singing.
And what was the name of the group?
The Anglo Singers. And I sang with the Anglo Singers, and we sang all over the country with that group.
Earlier, we talked a bit about Mr. Eldridge's service to our country, a chapter of his life he carries with quiet pride. His pride in that service is deep and unwavering. He recalled some of the work his unit did for the Women's Army Corps.
As a matter of fact, what we actually did, it was an engineer group. What we actually did was to build cabins for the wax. They had an army of wax, white girl wax, and that's what they did. But me, I was a water purifier, so that's what I became, the water purifier in that group. And did electric work. I did a hell of a lot of things when I was in the Army. And actually, when I left California, we was in the ocean, 18 days before we got to our destination.
What's this?
That's what the government gave me. And here's some of my models. And in the inside is tell you a lot about me.
Wow.
When they got us down to Louisiana where we was going to camp, it was, here again, it was an all-black camp with sand. But all the white camps were white with grass in Louisiana. Actually, I trained in Cincinnati. That's where I trained to become a soldier, in Cincinnati. And from Cincinnati, then it sent us to Louisiana to basics.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mr. Eldridge did a number of things in life. Worked for the New York Central Railroad Company, was a janitor with Columbus City Schools, even traveled with a singing group. After serving in the military, he went to the Angela School of Fashion and Arts to learn how to become a tailor. He designed clothes, even costumes for some family members. Before I give the final note to Mr. Eldridge, my thanks to him for his service, to him and his family for their time and willingness to let me into their world, and to you for watching.
Great is thy faithfulness, O God, my Father. You art in heaven and heaven above. You come to me with my glory and pieces.
Thanks for watching. For more NBC4, download the NBC4 streaming app. You'll get free 24/7 local programming streamed straight to your living room. Just search NBC4 Columbus on your Apple TV, Amazon Fire, or Roku.